Now at 5, the Newton County Sheriff says he's seen an increase in marijuana possession among students since legalization in Missouri. Plus, a gun store in Joplin reports a surge in sales and safety class attendance.
President Biden is in Poland, reiterating the U.S.'s support for Ukraine in their war with Russia. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House with a response from Moscow, nearly 1 year after the war began.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A missing Washington State boy was found in Jasper County, Missouri. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. According to the FBI, deputies found 8-year-old Bredson John of Vancouver, Washington, near Joplin on Friday. The boy was reported missing last summer after community members reported they hadn't seen the boy. Vancouver police said that prosecutors charged the boy's grandparents with custodial interference. They are suspects in his disappearance. Child Protective Service officers from Washington are traveling to Missouri to get Bredson John. Sheriff says a change in Missouri's marijuana laws might have brought some problems to schools. Newton County Sheriff Chris Jennings says since the legalization of recreational marijuana in Missouri, his resource officers have seen an increase in number of students possessing marijuana in a couple of the schools. He says the uptake has been primarily in high schools, but they're also starting to see cases in middle schools. Jennings says students not only have marijuana with them, but also in some cases cannabis edibles.
It's easier access now for the kids to get. Obviously there's more of it out and about, and some of them feel that they need to take it to school, I guess.
Jennings also says marijuana is not good for children with developing minds. Law enforcement's part is to turn children over to juvenile authorities. A Joplin gun shop reports an increase in gun sales and firearm classes. Joplin Center Fire is seeing a surge in the number of people visiting the store, which has resulted in a significant increase in sales, they say. One possible explanation for the increase in sales is concerns about personal safety.
As of recently, though, the behavior of the consumer wanting to educate themselves how to deal with that, purchase the tool to help themselves deal with that, and educate themselves how to deal with that, I think, yes, there has been an increase in that. Because with the sales along with that here has come an increase in personal protection training that we've seen in the last year or two, more than we've seen in the last 5 years we've been open.
We're going to hear more from a community member and a firearm instructor tonight at 6. Southwest Missouri organization is trying to make sure everyone in the community has access to fresh produce. The 100 Women Who Care chapter of Jasper and Newton counties donated $3,600 to the Webb City Farmers Market WIC program. That program helps provide fresh fruits and vegetables to families in need.
And so the WIC program allows us to help make it easier for mothers and children in the community to have access to fresh produce and fresh food goods, things that they may not always have easy access to. So it's really awesome.
Webb City Farmers Market is open on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for our first look at the weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another mild one for us today. Clouds really increasing over the past couple hours, and this is what we're going to see as we go through the evening hours. We're watching this storm system out across parts of Arizona and New Mexico, and that will eventually be a line of showers and thunderstorms which heads into the region. So we do have at least a low severe threat as we go into the morning hours for us tomorrow. This is mainly 6 a.m. until 11 a.m. Main threats wind and hail, but we do have at least a low tornado threat. We're going to elevate wind and also rain for tomorrow morning. So this isn't tonight, this is in the morning hours. For the evening hours, we stay nice. We're sitting into the lower 60s. That's pretty much where we sit as we go all the way through the overnight hours for us tonight. Of course, we'll have more details on our thunderstorms tomorrow morning here in just a bit.
See you then. Tributes continue to pour in for former President Jimmy Carter, who is now in end-of-life care. He spent President's Day resting at home with his wife Rosalind and family by his side. Former pastor of the church where Carter taught Sunday school for decades spoke to CBS News after visiting with the Carters. He says Carter is at peace and is still thinking of others, offering his prayers to the country instead of asking others to pray for him. President Biden reaffirmed U.S. support of Ukraine and NATO during a speech in Warsaw, Poland, nearly a year after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The address comes shortly after Russian President Vladimir Putin announced Moscow would suspend its participation in a nuclear arms control pact with the United States. Skylar Henry reports.
Children waving Polish, Ukrainian, and American flags shared the stage with President Biden in Warsaw, following a speech where he promised that the U.S. and its allies will continue to have Ukraine's back while it defends itself.
Our support for Ukraine will not waver. NATO will not be divided, and we will not tire.
Earlier, the president met with his Polish counterpart. The visit comes a day after Mr. Biden made an unannounced visit to Ukraine in a show of solidarity as the war enters its second year.
Россия ответит на любые вызовы.
The visit also came as Russian President Vladimir Putin accused the West of starting the war, something President Biden flatly rejected.
The West was not plotting to attack Russia, as Putin said today. President Putin chose this war.
In his State of the Nation address Tuesday, Putin also announced that Russia will suspend its participation in the new START treaty, which limits each country to no more than 1,550 deployed nuclear warheads and 700 deployed missiles and bombers. The agreement includes on-site inspections to verify compliance. By suspending the last remaining nuclear arms control pact with the United States, Russia has significantly ramped up tensions with the West. Biden administration officials were quick to condemn the action.
The announcement by Russia that it's suspending participation in the new START is deeply unfortunate and irresponsible.
The Kremlin later clarified that Russia was not withdrawing from the pact completely and will respect the caps on nuclear weapons set under the treaty. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The Russian Foreign Ministry also said Russia will keep on exchanging information with the U.S. about test launches of ballistic missiles. Federal environmental regulators today took charge of the cleanup from the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment and chemical burn. The EPA told Norfolk Southern it would be required to reimburse the federal government for a new program to provide cleaning services for impacted residents and businesses. The EPA warned Norfolk Southern that if it failed to comply with its order, the agency would perform the work itself and seek triple damages from the company. Still ahead, a chance to reshape the internet.
The Supreme Court examines the question, can tech companies be held liable for content posted by users? I'm Nicole D'Antonio at the Supreme Court with details of the case and the potentially far-reaching implications.
And next in Health Watch, we're going to meet a husband and wife who just so happened to be the perfect match when one needed an organ transplant. Topping today's Health Watch, stroke patients have new hope in improving mobility. A new study shows that electrical stimulation of the spinal cord region can instantly and significantly enhance arm function even after the stimulation is switched off. Researchers from the University of Pittsburgh and Carnegie Mellon University said the neurotechnology on stroke patients and saw them fully open and close their fist, lift their arm above their head, or use a fork and knife to cut a piece of steak for the first time in years. New research shows that vaccination against COVID-19 is associated with fewer heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular issues. The Mount Sinai study in New York is the first to examine both full and partial vaccination and the link to major adverse cardiac events in the United States. A Virginia husband and wife say they always thought they were a perfect match. Well, now after one of them needed a life-saving organ transplant, they're more validated than ever. Antoinette Dalbell has their story.
Terry Jang and Aaron Lee knew they had a strong bond when they got married 15 years ago.
Just so happy to have her.
And that connection is even stronger now.
Just knowing that he had the guts to do something so big and so brave, it's like true love.
Terry found out she had stage 5 kidney failure more than a year ago. The 36-year-old thought she'd be on dialysis for the rest of her life, until the day she got the call from her doctors.
I didn't believe it, nor he didn't believe it neither. they would tell us, well, you guys are a perfect match. We looked at each other like, did we hear the wrong thing?
And Lee was ready to donate his kidney to his wife.
My husband's sacrificing for me.
The transplant surgery was performed last month.
When it comes to a kidney transplant, that's the scariest thing for me. But because, so many episodes that she go through, it just makes me become a stronger and stronger person.
While more people are signing up to become donors, the need for organs is still critical. More than 105,000 people are on the national transplant waiting list. Douglas Wilson is the executive vice president at LifeNet Health, which handles organ transplants in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
The wait for a kidney in the United States is generally over a 5-year period. So if someone is healthy and is a match, they can live a perfectly normal, productive life with one kidney. Living donation is a great thing because you can see immediately the results of the gift that you gave.
He gave me a second chance of life.
And with this new gift of life, the couple is now hoping to start a family. Antoinette Delbell, CBS News, James City County, Virginia.
It's estimated 17 people die every day waiting for an organ transplant. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, why Twitter is facing $14 million in lawsuits from landlords.
Plus, thunderstorms increase for us by morning. I'll have those details coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be another mild one for us today. Temperatures into the upper 60s during the afternoon, which is always really nice to see this time of the year. But we even have thunderstorms in the forecast. It's February, so we usually don't get that too much this time of the year, but that is something we are going to have to deal with. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, look at these temps. We're into low to mid 60s. This is pretty much where we're going to hang as we go through the evening hours. Southerly winds starting to pick up just a little bit. We now have south winds kind of in that 10 to 20 mile per hour range, and gusts have been a little bit higher than that, 25 upwards to 30, and these will start to increase even more as we go into the daytime hours for us tomorrow. Through the evening, we hang into lower 60s, overnight low about 59. That is about it. We do have the clouds, which are increasing. You can see showers on the radar not reaching the ground, but we will start to get some rain in here later on tonight. It's this wave which is heading toward us, and that's going to give us good chances for thunderstorms by the time we head into the morning hours. So most of us, at least a low risk. I think the greater risk is going to be along and south of I-44, Joplin mainly south. That's where the little bit higher risk is going to be as we go into the morning hours. So our timing, not afternoon or evening when we usually get severe weather, but 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. Main threats, wind and hail. I think the highest threat is wind. We do at least, though, have a low tornado threat, so that's something we want to keep our eyes on, but we'll elevate wind and rain as we go into tomorrow morning. All right, let's get into the future here. After midnight, some scattered showers starting to pop up across the region. As we continue toward daybreak, thunderstorms start getting going on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. Some of these storms could be strong, but I think it's the ones that push out of northeastern Oklahoma, kind of from Joplin south. Here's 7:30 in the morning. These will have the higher potential of being severe with some gusty winds, 60 upwards to 70, at least some small hail, and then a very low tornado threat. So let's continue through the morning. Heaviest line now by 9 a.m. in our far eastern counties, but still showers and thunderstorms ongoing along the I-44 corridor. Heaviest rain is out of here by 10:30, but we will continue to get scattered showers until about noon or 1 o'clock, and then we'll break out. We'll see sunshine, the winds are going to be strong, and our temperatures are going to pop back into the upper 60s for highs once again. All right, rainfall with this system, lesser amounts, western counties, maybe only a quarter of an inch. Along the I-44 corridor and south, though, a half an inch to an inch of rain across the region. You can see those chances go up 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 5, 7, 9, and then they start to taper off as we get into the afternoon. Plus, the winds are going to be strong. We're going to have southerly winds 40 to about 45 miles per hour. All right, so we're going to make tomorrow an alert day. with the severe threat in the morning. 69, partly sunny in the afternoon, significantly cooler by Thursday. Showers back in late Friday, kind of weak waves over the weekend, not a washout. Thunderstorms again on Monday.
I know you'll be keeping an eye on the possibility of some nasty weather for us.
Absolutely.
Thanks, John. For the second time in 2 years, Antarctic sea ice has reached record low levels, and that has scientists sounding the alarm. According to the National Snow and Ice Data Center, the sea ice that fringes Antarctica dropped to just 737,000 square miles on February 13th, well below the previous high. Coming up, the Supreme Court hears arguments in a case that could reshape the internet as we know it. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the Supreme Court heard arguments in the first of two cases this week, taking aim at the broad protections afforded to tech companies. At issue, whether they can be held liable for content their users post. As Nicole D'Antonio reports, the outcome in the High Court could affect the entire internet.
Tuesday's case, Gonzalez v. Google, was brought by grieving parents whose daughter was killed in the Paris terror attacks in 2015. They sued YouTube for posting ISIS content.
The claim here is about the encouragement of users to go look at particular content.
It's the first of two cases this week taking aim at 26 words in a nearly 30-year-old law known as the Communications Decency Act. It offers tech companies broad protection against litigation over third-party content.
The internet would have never gotten off the ground if anybody could sue every time.
Dominating the conversation, algorithms, which recommend similar web content based on user preferences.
Everybody is trying their best to figure out how this statute applies. The statute, which was a pre-algorithm statute, applies in a post-algorithm world.
The High Court also enjoyed a laugh at its own expense.
You know, these are not like the 9 greatest experts on the internet.
All kidding aside, a narrow ruling from the High Court could change the way people use the internet.
If they were to say, any targeted content, any personalized content is not covered by 230, then you'll probably see less personalization, and you'll see probably back to, if you remember, Facebook from the mid-2000s, where it's reverse chronological and nothing's prioritized.
Rulings in both cases are expected by the end of June. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
The Wall Street Journal reports that Twitter is facing at least 9 lawsuits filed by landlords, vendors, and other outside companies, claiming a combined total of $14 million in missed payments. 3 of the lawsuits allege the company hasn't paid rent on offices it occupies. And more than 300,000 Starbucks vanilla Frappuccino bottles are being recalled because they might contain glass. The drinks are 13.7 ounce vanilla Frappuccinos with the expiration dates of March 8th, May 29th, June 4th, and 10th. Distributor PepsiCo has issued the warning to retailers and consumers. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a look at some of the food additives allowed in the U.S. that are banned in Europe. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to hear more from the Newton County Sheriff about a rise in marijuana possession among students. Plus, new memorial benches are installed at Webb City's King Jack Park. And Missouri Southern baseball takes the field against the Drury Panthers. We're going to have the highlights for you. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Looking at the possibility of some stormy weather moving in.
Yeah, showers, thunderstorms increasing after midnight for us tonight. Alert day tomorrow due to at least a low severe threat through the morning hours. Sunshine, windy in the afternoon. High temp of 69, then turning quite a bit colder Thursday, Friday, and then warming up over the weekend.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.